listening to the Beatles and talking to them earlier on, I began to wonder whether I agreed or not with a quote I made a note of here of Brian Epstein's description of the Beatles in his book, A Cellar Full of Noise. He said, one of them had the glamour, one the command, one the little man's quaintness, and one was the boy next door. Now, I've never met this lady next door here. What's your name? Jackie. Jackie, would you like to try and work it out for me, if you haven't read the book? Which is the one who has the glamour?
I would say Paul.
You'd say Paul. Everyone agree with that? John. Oh, George. Oh, disagreement. All right. Yes. And which one has the command?
I think John.
You would think John?
Yes.
I see. All right. One, the little man's quaintness.
Ringo. Yes.
Ringo. And the boy next door. George. Well, the girls behind you got it wrong, but you got it right. You're absolutely right. That's the way it goes. I'm going to join the four of them again now. But we're also being joined by Observer columnist, delighted to welcome her back, Catherine Whitehorn. And as I told you earlier, also by writer Wolf Mankiewicz. Wolf, you're very welcome again.
He's been on before.
He has indeed, and I hope he'll be on again, too.
He won't if he carries on the way he's been carrying on tonight. Get him, Wolf. Terrifying giggle he's got tonight. Get him, Wolf.
Get him, Wolf.
Show us your pictures, Show us your pictures.
Only if you show me yours.
Anytime.
Catherine, in your column this morning, you were talking about a situation that will soon involve Ringo here, about what to say, the problem of getting an honest opinion about a new baby. You know, when someone says, here's the new baby, what do you say? Have you got any tips that can be offered, not necessarily to Ringo, but to his colleagues, what they say?
Well, I was just going to say, Ringo is the last person who has given an honest opinion about the new baby. All I said was that if you don't know what to say about the kid, the uglier it is, the more pleased the parents are to say, it's just like you.
They all look the same to me.
It's easier to
have an old children.
To have a what, George?
An old children.
An old children?
Yes. An old child. Children.
Well,
your wife,
I don't get that. No.
I don't get it, no.
It's very deep, doesn't it? I don't get that.
It's a deep remark. I know I have an American friend who has a surefire friend. Have you?
Yep.
When he sees a baby, when someone says, what do you think of the baby? All he does, he looks in the cot of the pram and he says, that's a baby.
Oh, but you want to watch that, because sometimes it goes wrong.
Right away,
There was one man who tried to play that one, and he looked at it and said, is that a baby? And someone got it wrong.
Sometimes it's a very young, unbooked up singer, isn't it?
Is it?
Unbooked, we don't know that term here. But, Wolf, you too, like Catherine, joined the ranks of the Sunday columnists today. And
Just as a visitor.
apart from what you said just now about John's giggle, I quote you. You said that although the Beatles, today you said this, make a cult of casualness, you added, I don't think the Beatles are at all modest. Would you care to repeat that now in front of them?
I don't think the Beatles are at all modest.
He's right. Neither do we. He spotted it, didn't he?
Oh, they need to be modest.
I think that four highly, well, you know, much of their publicity points out their modesty, you know, which derives from their casualness, which derives from their
But if you believe
contempt
that,
with which they treat their audiences, essentially.
Do you think that they treat their audiences with contempt?
Oh, yes, they're so assured of the reaction of the audience that they...
You're joking.
No,
You're wrong there. We mightn't be modest, but for instance, today we did a show. It's the first time we've done anything for months live. And we were petrified because we've been making a film, you see, actually, it's on, you know. And we were petrified there. We always are, so we're not back to being modest.
But I mean, personal appearances don't actually hurt the sales of your records. I mean, your last record pre-subscribed 350,000.
That doesn't mean a thing, though. That doesn't mean say it's going to jump in like everybody thinks. That means that dealers have ordered... Sorry about that, Paul.
It's all right.
Dealers have ordered that many, but it doesn't mean say people are going to buy them. It's when they've ordered them and people come and buy them from them.
3 records ago, it was pre-subscribed 1 million.
I know, but that's only the dealers.
No, I don't mind.
But it's still only the dealers. It's not people putting their names down to buy records.
It's not symptomatic of a modest regard for audiences that artists appear on television in front of some 10 million possible buyers of records. I mean, I'm not knocking you, I'm just being realistic.
No, but just you switched
Well, I mean,
the
you're
subject
leaving us
was in a
out of
way.
it, aren't you? I mean, they do it for the money just like anybody else. Like, and it might be you or me.
Right, Mrs.
I'm
Right.
I'm not
Mrs. Right owns right.
But you were saying that that you're mixing, or deliberately, no doubt, mixing modesty with assurance in front of an audience. I don't believe that, as John has said, that even the Beatles, with all their experience, will ever go out in front of an audience and be assured that they've got a good audience.
Every time we... Every time we release a record, we really are terrified that it's not going to make it, honest.
Well, why is that, do you think?
Because
with the size of the machine,
people
the
expect
success
it.
machine that you now have, massed behind you, why do you have to be nervous?
Well, it's
about
worse
that?
for us than other people, because we've got to keep up doing what we've done before. If we don't do it as well, people will knock you, even though you're doing better than anybody else, and you're doing it not as well as you did before. You're in trouble.
But now you're a serious incursion into the film business. Your last film grossed very big money. At the
That doesn't mean to say that our next film is going to be the biggest flop out, you know. Could be.
No.
You can't pre-subscribe things like films or the goodness of records.
Yeah, there is a certain algebra to these things. I mean, it's known, for example, that though James Bond films will eventually, algebra, you remember what that is? Though James Bond films will eventually drop off, they will build an accumulative business based upon the business they did before. Similarly, the next Beatles film must do something very near to the business.
Yeah, but you weren't saying that before. You were saying that the thing about the pre-subscribed thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, but it does, you see. It really does, you know. Because if the word gets round that this next film's a bad film, however pre-subscribed it is, it'll be a flop, you know. And the third one will really finish us.
Even if the third one's very good, if the second one doesn't
you
make
can't
it.
do bad things, you know. I mean, maybe
I
you
think
we do.
I think that the Beatles are in the situation of to use a metaphor I'm used to, a boxer who has never been beaten. Each fight gets tougher because he hasn't had a defeat.
Right, it's full.
So for that reason, you need to have a genuine modesty towards the audience. That's what we're arguing.
Yeah, the modesty is...
You're frightened of the audience.
Yeah, well, it's you know, sort of as opposed to conceit, really. You can't be conceited and still worry that every time you go on, the people aren't going to like it.
I think you can.
Can you?
I think you can be conceited, but you can still worry. I've met lots of conceited people who are worried before they go on. I don't think the two things connect at all, either. You can be conceited and worry.
You can't be fully conceited and worried. If you're totally conceited, you just don't worry.
Oh, I don't know. What about Alfred Lunt when they...
Who's that?
What about him?
You might have heard of him. He was a century and a half before your time, maybe. But there's a story that he and his wife, Lynn Fontaine, and he was saying, how was I in this evening's performance? And she said, you were just fine, you were marvellous. I was absolutely terrible. You did look a little tired, but you were just a terrific actor. But I was ghastly, I was appalling, I don't know how I got through it. And when she'd finished deep-rating herself, he said, I was a little tired, was I?
Yeah. Well, Wolf there a moment ago mentioned the algebra of the box office, which you picked up straight away.
He mentioned that.
He did.
Education.
That's it. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to quote from Brian's book here, which I did already, Cellarful of Noise. And he describes you as 4 young men in their early 20s who left school before they should, who can neither read music nor write it, who care not a fig or a damn or a button for anyone, save a tight, close-guarded clique of less than a dozen. Now,
He's 24 now. We've met some more people.
have you? Is that basically still true, the last part of it?
Well, it's true with most people, isn't it? That you've got your circle of friends, you know. It's not true that we don't care down about anyone. We care more particularly to our circle of friends, I think. I think it's true about anyone. Really, isn't it?
Well, what?
We'll have a slipped up, Eamonn.
No, I was...
Thanks, John. Thank you, Johnny.
No, I was fascinated to read this. It's gone up to 24, John says. Who are the 24? What sort of people are they that you have time for because you haven't much time in your lives anyway? What sort of people are your friends? Who is this clique?
Oh, yes. I can't think of any of
People
them.
like us in the same business as us. People with the same interests, really. Because we don't get a chance to talk about other things. You know, we talk shop a lot of the time. Like the Stones, you know, we're always chatting to them about records.